Yes, good evening, Michael Moore. Chris Stanley from KNX News Radio here in Los Angeles. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I would venture to say that you probably made the largest scene at an Oscar ceremony since Vanessa Redgrave's reference to Zionist hoodlums in 1978. One wonders, did you get the reaction that you were looking for, and why did you do what you did?
I'm an American.
That's it?
Oh, that's a lot.
I mean, you stirred the place up like I've never heard it stirred up before.
I'm an American, and you don't leave your citizenship when you enter the doors of the Kodak Theater. What's great about this country is that you're able to speak your mind, and that's what I do. I do that in my filmmaking, I do that in my daily life, and I don't stop being who I am when I come into this ceremony. And I'm extremely grateful for the response. Suddenly the lights went down, and when they came back up, Mike was flat on the stage.
Half the people wanted to carry out on their shoulders and half wanted to throw fruit at you.
Oh, that's not what I saw. I saw the entire place stand up and applaud a film that talks about how we are manipulated by the fear that's put forth from the White House, that's put forth by corporate America to create a culture of violence. Violence at home and violence abroad. We kill each other at an enormous rate, more so than virtually any other country on this planet. What was the lesson that we taught the children of Columbine this week? This was the lesson, that violence is an acceptable means to resolve a conflict. Thank you, KNX.
Mr. Moore, over here, Shadow Broadcasting, Sandy Kenyon, 1010 wins. To your right, sir, right here.
1010 wins.
Mr. Moore, want to ask you, there were some boos after the cheers, clearly heard. Your reaction when you heard those boos coming at you?
Those are all my friends and relatives. They're trying to, no, I said, you know what? Hollywood's got such a bad rap of being monolithic in their politics, like they're all a bunch of left-wing Democrats out here. It'd be really cool if a bunch of you, booed just to show the world that, it's a diversity of opinion in this town.
Don't you think the town and the country itself is divided, though?
No, actually, the country is united. The majority of Americans do not want to see any of your young boys or girls killed in this war. They want the troops to come home safe. And the majority of Americans never voted for that guy who sits in the White House. He was never elected by a majority of the citizens of this country, and I'll keep saying that until he's out of there. Our democracy was hijacked, and there's a squatter on federal land at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Next question, 133.
Call me crazy, call me an American, I don't know what, but I just happen to believe it's one person, one vote, and you count all the votes. What a wild idea. Yes, sir.
Mr. Moore, Miguel Morales, Voice of America, Latin American Division. Now that you have won an Oscar, would you be concerned about being blacklisted in Hollywood?
Well, I don't work in Hollywood. I'm funded by Canadians and others who don't live here. So, but it was Hollywood who voted for this award. It was Hollywood that stood when it was announced. Were there any other, has that happened yet tonight? No, I mean for a win. Was that the first one? Don't report this, that there was a split decision in the hall because 5 loud people booed. Do your job and tell the truth. This is how not only this town feels, but the majority of Americans did not support us getting into this war. The majority of Americans are not for Bush's policies. They're not for drilling in Alaska. Go down the whole damn list. The majority of Americans oppose what Bush stands for. The majority of your fellow Americans, they're pro-choice, they're pro-environment, they're pro-labor, and that's the truth. And I'm sorry to have to, speak it, but I don't know what else to do.
Can we have a couple more questions? I believe 37 was the next question on the list. Did 37's question get answered already?
No, I'm here. Robert Nisbet,
Okay.
BBC News. Do you think that the entire ceremony should have been cancelled or postponed, or do you think that actually it's proved to be a very good platform for your point of view?
No, I think that's important to have the Oscars, and after all, isn't that what we're fighting for, our American way of life? I mean, what could be more American than the Oscars? I mean, what's the point? I don't know. I don't understand. I'm disappointed that people didn't have a chance to speak to press as they came in. And I noticed there were reporters with notepads writing on the notepads, and I said, why aren't you saying anything? And somebody said with a whisper, we were told that we couldn't say anything. Not in my America. You know, you're free to ask a question anytime you want and say anything anytime you want. That's the beauty of this country. That's the freedom we want to preserve.
So do you think we are fighting for the American way of life over there?
No, I was being sarcastic. We're fighting for Bush and his oil buddies, and it distresses me that young men and women are put in harm's way for that reason. It's absolutely appalling and immoral.
In your acceptance, you said we were over there for fictitious reasons. What are some of those reasons?
That being the fictitious reason being that Saddam Hussein is going to kill you or I tonight. That's the fiction. The nonfiction is that we're over there because they've got the second largest supply of oil in the world. And just why not just say that? Geez, wouldn't you just respect the man so much more if he just went on TV? I mean, he almost said it the other night when he said, "Don't burn those oil fields." You know, it's like, oh, good, he's going to say it because that's our oil. And then he didn't. So.
I think there was a question down front, 11.
Number 69 right here.
Yes, sir.
I would like to ask you a question. I've been watching the news here, and all the networks, to me, they seem that the writers are paid by the Pentagon. I mean, it's so biased. It's like a total propaganda, I think. What can you tell us about that? And
Tonight,
where can we get independent news in this country?
This is probably the first 2 hours of television this week where the American public haven't been inundated by generals or retired generals giving analysis and commentary. I would like the U.S. military to withdraw its troops from CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, CNN. Just please take the troops off our airwaves so that we can get the truth. It's a disgusting thing to see. Can I say what I said while the band was playing? Sure. I don't know if you heard it or not. I just said that anybody who's got both the Pope and the Dixie Chicks against them is not long for the White House. So.
Can we have one more question, please? I'm sorry, we're running short on time. Can we have one more question, please? I think 65.
Michael, to your left, it's Sam Rubin from KTLA. How are you? Congratulations to you both.
Thank you very much.
Even people who agree with you, who feel very much as you feel, I suspect tomorrow when the headline is not Chicago sweeps the Oscars, some are going to say Michael Moore hijacks the Oscars, are going to say that even those who agree with you, that you've put Hollywood in a bad light and you've screwed up tonight and all that. What do you say about all that?
I say that tonight I put America in a good light. I showed how vital it is to have free speech in our country, and that all Americans have a right to stand up for what they believe in. I certainly don't feel that I did that. I don't think the people out there felt that. I mean, come on, let's just get real here. I've been around for a few years, for 13 years now since Roger and Me. I've got the #1 selling book in the country this week. It's been on the bestseller list now for 53 weeks in LA and 48 weeks in New York, on the New York Times list. More Americans have bought my book in the last year than any other nonfiction book. Something called Stupid White Men, essentially starring George W. Bush, at a time when he was supposedly enjoying great popularity ratings. My finger's on the pulse of where I believe the majority of Americans are at, and it would be irresponsible of me to not say how I felt. And I think anybody voting for me for this award knew that they weren't going to get a speech thanking agents, lawyers of agents, and agents of lawyers. You know, that's just who I am. I'm an honest and sincere person. I feel strongly about what I believe in, but I also love the art of cinema. I love going to a good movie, and every time I set out to make a movie, the first thing I think about is what would I like to go see on a Friday night? Not what political message I want to make, not what thing I want to cover, but what would make a great movie where after 2 hours people would walk out of the theater going, wow, that was a great film. How often do we get that experience? It's so rare, and that's what I set out to do. That's what I hope I did with this film, and I'm honored to receive this award from the Academy and for my fellow filmmakers. And one of the final thing I want to say about what you said about hijacking, while I was walking up the aisle, I invited all my fellow nominees to come up on the stage with me. And they all, and I said, I told them during the commercial break, if you want to come with me, I'd love for you to come with me, but but come only if you want to be in solidarity with me, because I'm going to speak out against this war and against Bush. And they were thrilled, and I was thrilled to have them share the stage with me and not just have it be about Michael Moore or Michael Donovan or Kathleen Glynn, but all of us who work in nonfiction. You work in nonfiction, and it's important. It's important because it speaks truth to the fiction that's out there. It's so critical these days. We need to reclaim our country. I love my country. I love this democracy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations.